What's up, hobby friends, and welcome back to Paint Bravely, the podcast where you can find a little bit of encouragement, discover new ways to make your hobby more fun, and most importantly, learn to paint bravely. Now, just recently, GenCon happened, and unfortunately, I did not get to go. But my co-host over here, Brent, did. So we're going to talk about that a little bit, because I'm curious. I want to know what everything was. I want to know what there was, how it was, all of it. So, yeah, Brent, you haven't been doing much hobby, but you've been at GenCon. What's up?
I mean, GenCon is hobby. It counts. It counts. Okay.
Okay.
This is my third year at GenCon. I am led to believe this is the 55th year of GenCon. GenCon is a giant convention that has board games and card games and RPGs, and it has mini games. And there was a monster truck there, and there was a giant inflatable mech, and there was a lot of stuff. So, where to begin? Okay, there were 50,000 people there, 50,000 goobers, definite goobers, in the good way.
Yeah,
I was gonna say mostly, but no, I think entirely in the good way.
Okay,
this is a place where it's like our people. And GenCon, at least recently, has been held in Indianapolis. The name refers to Geneva, Wisconsin, where, I don't know, something about Gary Gygax.
I think where he was from, or where he lived.
Yeah.
In that house or whatever.
Yeah. So the full name of GenCon is the Geneva Convention, which is, we don't think about that too much, do we? No.
Depends on what kind of things you're up to.
Right, it does. It does.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this convention, 50,000 people, I think before COVID, it was up to like 70,000 or 80,000 or something.
Wow.
But don't worry, 50,000 is still a lot of people.
Yeah.
They did do mandatory masks inside the convention halls. They did do a vaccine check, and everybody got little yellow wristbands. And the people at the doors were actually checking for that stuff, so that was good. I mean, we'll see how it goes, but it is certainly better than the airlines I sat on in order to get there. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, most everywhere is pretty open these days. Which is a weird change. I mean, even when we went to Adepticon, it was still, even the airlines were requiring everything, and they were, so, yeah. Well, I guess Adepticon wasn't. You didn't have to,
Adepticon, you did have to do a vaccine check, but masks were mandatory, which meant most people weren't most of the time, but...
Right, yeah. We're not mandatory. Yeah, so that was, like... weird. I feel a little bit better about it now. I mean, of course, ironically speaking, like I went to Disneyland and also got COVID.
Sure.
So,
I don't know.
Yeah.
It was just one of those things, like voluntarily going to an event that has 50,000 nerds from all over, all in the same place. Yeah, sure. I feel a little better about that decision, knowing that everybody did have to have a vaccine check and be masked. But anyway... I've still gone 3 years without getting a cold. We'll see when that streak ends.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, yeah, you never know, right?
Yeah. So, almost I'm trying to figure out where to begin here. Okay, so...
Yeah, okay, so you flew in.
Yeah.
You got to the convention. You didn't have to wait in line, because, pro tip, you got your badge mailed to you.
Yes. And I got there just a little bit late, which meant that the vaccine line, or the vaccine check line, was moving very fast.
That's good.
Yeah. So sometimes there are so many people there that sometimes the line, especially like the line to pick up tickets, the line to pick up your badge, if you do will call, can be very slow unless you hit it at the right time. So anyway, pro tip, if you ever go to GenCon, pay the extra $10, get your convention badge mailed to you instead of picking it up there, and you may save yourself like 3 hours in a very long line.
Yeah, I did that, and then I didn't go.
Yeah. Well, you got your little memento for later.
I still haven't picked it up. The post office, put a little note on my door that's like, oh, well, you weren't home, even though I was. I don't know who was delivering it, whatever. They didn't bother to try.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's at the post office still. I just haven't gone. I probably won't.
You can't fool me, mailman. I am always home.
It's literally, that's the thing. Like, you are a liar, sir. Yeah.
You
did not ring my doorbell. That's happened like multiple times too with like dumb things. It's like, it's certified mail. I have to like sign for it or something. And it's like, I am home. Like, I guarantee it. And then they're just like, no, you weren't. It's like, yeah, okay, whatever, I don't know. I think they just assume, or they don't want to, whatever. But yeah, I did get mine mailed, so
okay,
it would have been good.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Okay, a couple months ago, we talked about Adepticon, which is a convention of like 5,000 nerds, something like that.
Not too many.
That's in Chicago, and it is very much focused on minis and mini war games, that sort of thing. GenCon is 50,000 people, and the difference is noticeable. It's very, very noticeable.
I can imagine. Yeah.
So,
you said 55 years? That's insane.
And for many of those years, it grows and grows and grows and grows.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah. So it is a very large convention center, the Indianapolis Convention Center. It is connected to the Lucas Oil Stadium, which is just a giant sports arena. One of the Super Bowls was held there. And anyway, the field of this giant sports arena is just an overflow area for gamers to play board games and to play Magic.
Man.
Like,
that is so insane.
I was kind of challenging myself to bring a couple cameras and try to capture the scale of this, the scale of all these nerds in one place. And I got some great pictures of me just sitting in the stands of this giant sports arena, taking pictures. And yeah, the field is covered in all the normal fold-up tables, circular tables, big rectangular tables. There's just nerds all over this sports field playing games. And it was great. Yeah. I myself went down to that field. I played some Flux. I played some Relic Blade with my pal from Sugar Candy Miniatures. And yeah, but again, that was just the annex, like one of the overflow areas for this convention.
The overflow area, yeah.
and it's almost hard to say what the center of the convention is. There's several very large halls. One of them is more for gaming. One of them is more of the vendor area. And earlier today, I was looking at the program and trying to count up all of the names of the different vendor booths. I think it's 600 different vendor booths.
Jeez.
Yeah. So, some of those are selling used Magic the Gathering cards. Some of them are selling cosplay props. You've got old board games, new board games. Warhammer had a stall. Mantic, Piezo, Weird, Catalyst, Infinity. I don't know. Just all of the names you've heard. But then the interesting thing is that a lot of companies you haven't heard of are also there.
Right.
And in a lot of ways, that is the best part. So I've been kind of putting the footage I've gotten together, and I think like a possible title for a video, if I make one, is going to be The Iceberg of Tabletop Gaming. So
right, yeah.
Yeah, if you go to your local game store, they have limited shelf space. They are making tough decisions about what they can keep and what they can't keep. And yeah, you're going to find Catan there. You're going to find Munchkin. But eventually you go down the list and you're not going to find a lot of stuff. You're not going to find 90% of all of the popular games that are out there.
Yeah, yeah.
But at GenCon, everything's there. Everything. You know, except Relic Blade. Those old boys weren't there.
Except
Relic Blade.
the Relic Blade. Like, come on, guys.
I'm going to call you guys out by name.
Yeah.
What is going on, Maleb?
Sean Sutter and Maleb.
Sean Sucker,
yeah. Like, not there.
That's all right. No, I had some things I was going to buy. I had like, I wanted to get some more Lone Guard miniatures. And I'm walking around, I'm not seeing them. And I'm pretty sure they weren't there. Like, it's big enough, and the vendor hall is big enough that after days of wandering around, I'm still not entirely sure that they weren't there.
Right. That's so insane. I mean, like, okay, I mean, I've been to concerts with like 90,000 people, and like, I get the scale, but yeah, like, in an enclosed area. I mean, that was like outside, right? In a big park. Okay, so it's a lot of people, but not at the same time. It's like going to Disneyland, going to a theme park, whatever. It's a lot of people. Yeah. So you don't really think about it so much, but like in an enclosed space, for sure, it starts to really become packed. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if they were there and you just never saw them. I mean, we probably ask them. If we would
probably talk to them.
Yeah. You might want to ask.
Yep.
Oh.
But it is definitely more spread out than a concert or a sporting event. Giant convention hall, but also all of the hotels nearby, like all of them have kind of convention spaces and halls for rent and that sort of thing. And yeah, so kind of in the periphery rooms, like the hotels a couple of sky bridges away, they have, you know, all the little rooms of people playing D&D one-shots and home brews and, you know, the Star Wars RPGs, and you got your Pathfinder, your Starfinder, all that stuff. All the RPGs are spread out a little bit farther. But then as you get closer to the core, you got all the mini painting events. There was like Warhammer, the laser tag was there.
Oh, sure.
There was this card holo thing, which is people spend 3 days taking old commons from a bunch of trading card games, making these giant card towers, and then for charity on Saturday night, people chuck quarters at the card towers, and then the quarters are all gathered up and you know, help to feed children in the Indianapolis area. So there's just so much stuff going on. But I think the biggest takeaway, like the coolest thing, is all of the games that you can discover there that you're not going to see at your local store, that honestly YouTubers do not cover.
Yeah.
That, you know, if you're going out and looking for like random lists on blogs or something of like 25 games you should play, like maybe some of them are on those lists, but nobody reads those blogs, so you're never gonna find them.
Yeah, that's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, but you go into these halls and just wander around and you see stuff. Like I not in the vendor hall, but in one of the gaming halls, wander around and there's just this Kings of War table that if it were Warhammer points, it would be at least 10,000 points, probably a fair bit more, actually. Yeah, probably like 30,000. I would
actually quite a lot, yeah. 4,000 per table times what, 8 or 9 tables?
That's a fair
10
bit.
tables? Yeah. So 50,000 points worth-ish, yeah.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
But there's always these giant setups. I mean, the gaming hall is walking around through this giant hall. And there's a Magic tournament, and there's X-Wing, and Star Wars Legion, and all this stuff. And then just at the end of the hall, there's just a monster truck sitting there. Like, oh, there's a monster truck in this room. Like, that's
a little weird. What's the deal with the monster truck? Because that seems like out of place, weirdly. Like... They're just like Lucas Oil Stadium. We have monster trucks. I guess this one we can park it here for fun.
Well, there was a board game that they were pushing, I don't know, Monster Truck Madness or something.
Okay.
And yeah, I was just wandering around through this hall, and from time to time people are like, "Hey, how you doing? You wanna try this game?" And depending on the mood, sometimes yes, sometimes I say like, "Oh, I'll be back later," but I purposely avoid them in the future.
Yeah. Which you can do, and they've already forgotten because it's so large.
Right. They know the game. It's all a game.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But yeah, one of these was like, "Hey, do you want to play this monster truck game?" I'm like, not right now. I'm busy. And busy. I wasn't that busy. I was just kind of wandering around.
Yeah.
But I like keep walking another 20 or 30 feet. And then I just almost walk into this freaking monster truck. And I'm just like, oh. And I turn back to the guy. I'm like, oh, I get it.
Yeah. Like they're trying real hard this year. They're like, look, we're going to make sure that people stop at our booth. Mm-hmm. The funny thing is, like, I feel like if I actually sit down and demo a game, if I like it even a little bit, the fact that I now kind of know how to play is such a huge motivating factor into buying that game. Mm-hmm. Like, because then I don't have to do some of the work to like start from scratch to learn how to do something. It's like, oh, I've kind of done this. Like I can pick up the rest. Right.
Yes.
So yeah, like demos are pretty important. I think and they know that, right? That's the whole shtick, right? Getting people to do demos is going to get them to buy games. And I'm definitely just one of those people that like, oh, it's $50. Like, well, now that I kind of know how to play it, yeah, okay,
No, let's do it.
Like that's what I do. That's me.
Yeah. So you and I played Conquest: The Last Argument of Kings when we were together at Adepticon, and that was fun.
It was fun.
Well, me all alone, or actually with 3 strangers that I met for the first time, but this seems like pretty chill people. I played Conquest First Blood 2nd edition.
Yeah, which I'm pretty excited about. I've been seeing some of their... I'm on their Discord, so I keep seeing all their updates and stuff. So yeah, it looks pretty sweet.
Yeah.
But you got to play.
I did. It was pretty brief. Okay, so I'm going to give you some big brain secrets here. So yeah, some real pro tips.
Pro tips, big brains. All right.
Okay.
Hit me.
So first off, that booth actually was busy the entire time. Like, Conquest was running a lot of demos.
Good.
And partially that was because of an excellent use of the coupon book, which we're going to talk about.
Ah, coupon book.
Coupon book, yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Conquest, I'm thinking that's going places. Just from hearing people talk. Mm-hmm. One of the fun things about conventions is you kind of get the vibe. You get the vibe of the community. It's a little bit of a census. You got kind of a quorum there of people talking about what's up and coming, what's big, what people are talking about. And Conquest is one of them. Also, one-page rules. One-page rules wasn't there, but people were talking about it. So
I've been hearing about one-page rules a lot more lately, which is interesting. It's been like within the last couple months or so.
Yeah.
So I am curious to see like how far they're going to take the thing that they built essentially, and how far they're going to go. Because like I would love to have like physical models, physical rule books, all the stuff from them, because a lot of people really like what they have. Yeah.
Agreed.
So we'll see. See.
Yep. Okay. So anyway, I got to play that game and didn't get too far into it because I went at the very end of the convention. Mm-hmm. Partially because that's when I could get a game in, but partially because I know that the closing minutes of the convention, a lot of the booth owners don't want to take this crap home.
Right.
Like, a lot of them are just like, here, take this. Like that's when you get your free stuff.
Right.
Now the coupon was like, hey, play a game of First Blood Edition 2, you get some minis. And by the way, I thought it was just going to be like a pack of 1 minis. They gave one of their boxes of 12 minis for that coupon.
The legitimate like warband of something. You have it. Of course you have it. You better have it. Oh yeah, that's a box. All right. So Brent's holding up. You get like 12 hold things.
Yeah. Which is like an elite unit. It's like a $40 or $50 box, depending on Yeah. Yeah. So
now I'm like more sad that I didn't go. Like even more now. Thank you.
So and this was just if you're like, yeah, let's see what this coupon is good for. Let's test out this coupon. Give it a test drive. Yeah. Turns out that was a pretty good coupon. Turns out that's good. Conquest is doing work there. Mm-hmm. But big brain, I get my demo at like 3:47 on Sunday afternoon.
Right.
Vendor hall closes at 4. I get 2 boxes.
You got two boxes of them Dwayne Homes.
No, 1 box of Dwayne Home, 1 box of Nords. I got Nord Stalkers.
What you gonna do with them Nords?
I'm going to put them together and be like, hey, look at these Conquest minis. I'm going to share that knowledge with the world.
Okay, that's fair. It's fair.
And look, I was hanging out with my teammate and my 2 opponents from that test game, and all of them got 2 boxes. You know, this is me just acting like a normie. And,
right, yeah.
But look, if I pulled out my YouTuber card, I probably could have gotten 2 boxes one way or the other, you know? Like,
yeah, probably. Yeah.
But I didn't have to, and it's fun to get it the honest way. The honest way of making sure that you go there at 3:47 and look at them awkwardly until they give you a second box. That's how it works.
To go away so they can pack up the rest.
And you stand there and you don't leave until they give you a second box. And if they give you 2 boxes of Nords, you say, yeah, you got anything else? And then they give you a box of Dwegholm. Yeah, that's how that works.
Right. You play that card. Like, well, I love your game, and I am a Dwegholm player. Mm-hmm. So, got any of that for free. The last minute switch.
And I think I am a Dwegholm player. I do think I am a Dwegholm player.
Right. I mean, I think that's a good choice. If you don't know, Dwegholm are the dwarven race in Conquest. They're pretty sweet. Yeah.
Although that might be my faction for the blocks of units. The dwarves fit really nicely into those regiments.
They do look good that way, yeah.
And one of the reasons I don't really like the orcs for Conquest Last Argument of Kings is because the orcs are so big that they don't fit into the blocks very well. Mm-hmm. The models are 38mm scale, and the orcs are a little bit oversized. They've got some dynamic posing. So even though the bases are pretty big, they're not big enough. And
right.
You have all the problems of Warhammer Fantasy all over again, of those Skaven just do not fit together. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man.
But
it's the good old days, yeah.
Yeah, the Conquest First Blood is the skirmish game where you take the models out of the blocks, they're on their circular bases, they've just got kind of the loose unit cohesion as a skirmish unit. And then the bigger model size, that don't matter so much. Get those beautiful orc models.
Oh, that's great, good. Yeah. Well, and a bigger model like that, I mean, it lends itself to like doing fun things with painting, and then having a skirmish warband makes a little more sense. Put some time into like that.
Yeah,
it just appeals to me like on many levels. So I've been looking forward to their skirmish thing. I know that they tried and it didn't go over well, and this is why it's now the second iteration. And I think you were telling me the other day it's alternating activations, or it's the card thing, the card stack activations.
Well, both.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Again, at the start of each game round, each player takes the unit cards for their force or whatever and orders them in a stack. And the way it works is you go back and forth flipping over a card which you have ordered for your side. And so like you decide that your ranged unit's going to go first, then your infantry unit, then your lord or whatever.
Right.
And depending on how much your opponent has tried to outthink you and outdo you, maybe that's a really good order for you to activate, or maybe not. Maybe they've killed your lord before your lord gets to activate. Who knows?
Yeah. I like that a lot. It's a good mechanic. It keeps things like fresh every time you play, I think. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to doing that. You know, I tried to buy Conquest models. I mean, both you and I tried to buy that starter kit from that Trains with a Z on eBay, and then both got screwed over. And
so what was the name again?
Trains with a Z.
Trains. That's right. Trains with a Z. Yeah.
Trains with a Z. Yeah. So I would have had a nice, good starter set for a good price, and now I'm just sitting with nothing. I got no Conquest. Yeah. None of it.
Yeah. Well, let's take a little break. What have you been up to, Casey? What have you been doing at home? Do you have not like a week? Ton, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's been a good week. I've been painting a really old 2nd edition Warhammer Space Marine. And that's been super fun. It's like mostly pewter, but it has like the plastic arms and the plastic backpack, but like the metal gun. So it's like really, really shoddy and funky. You know what I'm talking about.
That's so bad.
It really is.
It's so bad.
It's like the metal body with like plastic monopose arms and then a backpack. But I mean, I put some effort into it. It looks really good, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, like I just been kind of thinking like, man, I'm really tired of painting all these like huge projects and armies and start collecting boxes and trying to like push myself to do that in the same amount of time that like would be more appropriate for like a couple of models, you know? So I thought, okay, well, I'll just take it easy on this Space Marine and make something fun. And you know, I even painted the base all green, and I put little green texture on the base, kind of dry brushed it with some yellow, you know, like that super classic old 1990 Warhammer look.
Yeah, the yellow. The yellow on top of the goblin green. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's not goblin green, unfortunately. I don't have any goblin green. I used some, whatever the green is out of the Pro Acryl set. Okay. It's pretty bright. It's a little brighter, I think.
Yeah.
Than goblin green, but it's still nice. Like, it looks stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, that's a dumb way to base your models, but it just has that look to it. And I don't know, I'm making a video about it. I think it's like I don't really like Space Marines now, but when I look at like 1990s Space Marines and the monopose stuff and like Rogue Trader and 2nd edition, 3rd edition even, like there is something about that I do like. Like, and I don't know, maybe it's just nostalgia, because it's kind of like when I started with Warhammer. It's when I was just being introduced to it. Like, that Space Marine felt more iconic, you know, and now they're kind of a little bit more generic, which is weird. You know, things change, whatever. But the old metal models just have a look to them. So it was kind of cool, because I've never actually painted one of the older ones like that. I have a bunch, but I've never gotten around to it. And finally, like, doing that original Ultramarine scheme where it's like instead of gold trim, it's all yellow. Doing the yellow trim, the yellow Aquila, red weapons, you know, green base, like just super bright. Yeah, it was pretty fun. I actually kind of like that. I wasn't expecting to like get into it as much as I did. I even like went so far as to do like freehand on the shoulder pads, and you know, like actually work at it for a while and get the shading on the little Ultramarine symbol, and on the inside of it a little shadow kind of thing. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. Not a ton, right? Just the one Space Marine.
That's fine.
Yeah, but that's been good. I've been just kind of sitting here feeling sorry for myself not going to GenCon, so yeah.
Should I tell you more about the fun I had this weekend?
I mean, you shouldn't, but I want to know anyways, because I want to know like all the things that I missed out on and can look forward to next year, hopefully.
Okay.
Okay. You know.
So I saw the guys from Titanforge, and Titanforge, I mean, they were a company before this, but recently they've been known as an STL Patreon company, you know. doing their monthly release bundles of stuff you can print out. And I really like their style. They've got a bunch of cool fantasy miniatures. And they've also recently, I don't know, in the last year plus, they've been trying to make a game called Bloodfields.
Yes. I'm familiar with this game.
Yeah. And so with their Patreon releases, they've been releasing like stat blocks for some of their minis. And at first I was like, okay, they're, releasing some written material to try to increase the value of their Patreon subscription. And okay, yeah, that makes sense. And I kind of assumed that the game was just filler.
Right,
but,
just in case, it's a reason to paint them or whatever. Yeah.
But they were doing demos of their game at GenCon. And I went down, I sat down. The models were beautifully painted. I really do like their sculpting style, so I loved the minis. They're beautifully painted. The game board looked great. Sat down, did a demo game, and you know me, I hate learning rules. I don't read, and even when people are telling me the rules, I get like grumpy and it doesn't sink in. And
yeah.
But this game, Bloodfields, by the second round, I understood what was going on. I knew enough to be making tactical decisions. There were a couple of interesting mechanics in there. And yeah, it was pretty cool. So the one main mechanic that's probably worth talking about is the inspiration tokens. So, okay, so let's say you have 4 characters on your side. Every round you get 5 inspiration tokens, and that's almost like a command point. It's something you can spend during that round to make the character a little bit better. So the dice are proprietary. They're D6, but like you have an attack dice and your opponent has a defense dice. And so you roll your attack die, and there's a clear hit, a clear miss, and there's another one. And one of the faces is inspiration. So an inspiration is a miss unless you spend your inspiration token, and then that turns it into a hit.
Right.
So when you're setting up your tokens for the round, like if you have one character that is going right into the middle of combat, instead, like one option is to just give each of your characters 1 inspiration token. So each of your characters can do one kind of special thing during the round. Or you can give one character who's in the midst of things all of your inspiration tokens so that they're more likely to hit, they're more likely to dodge. And it's kind of fun of being like, okay, this round, this guy needs to do some business. We're gonna put everything on Orgal, the bear man, or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fantasy themed. So it was like witch hunters against animal people was the starting set. Nice. The minis are in COcast. It is the soft COcast, which I did buy the starter set, and they were selling a starter set of 8 minis with their unit cards for $20.
That's pretty good.
That's good.
That's like a fair deal.
That's pretty good.
Right?
And since I knew the guys, they slipped me a pack of the proprietary dice, but
pull out don't worry about that. Card.
Yeah,
that's fine. I see how it is. Yeah. You're just YouTube carding all over the place. Like, yeah.
I think that was the only time I used my YouTube card. I didn't really use it. They slipped it to me, and and I decided not to ask how much does that cost, and then give them that amount of money. But whatever.
I mean, realistically, like maybe that cost them like 50 cents. But
it was like 12 dice. Yeah. Not.
I'm sure it's fine.
I enjoyed my demo game before I decided to buy the starter set, which was before they gave me some free dice. So
exactly,
okay.
No, this makes sense. You spent money. And we're talking about it right now, right?
That's right.
like those dice were just a trade for just conversation.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
do you know if they're selling those boxes independently or if they're just at conventions right now?
I'm not super sure.
Okay. I'm just curious. Maybe they told you.
The boxes are really nice. So, like the artwork is they take their renders from the STL and they actually do a pretty good job of coloring them in and making them part of some nice box art, which is surprising because WizKids Frameworks just colored in their STLs and that box art did not look good.
Wow. There's a lot we could say about frameworks even now.
We'll get there.
Yeah, I know. Oh man.
But yeah, Titanforge Bloodfields might be the game I was most excited about from this convention. I brought some Relic Blade minis. I played Relic Blade. I did enjoy that. My pal Fiverr had read the rule book more recently than I had and really helped me along on that stuff. But in terms of games that I discovered for the first time there, Bloodfields, I'm giving that a goober thumbs up.
All right. I like that because actually I have an entire painted warband that I printed out for Bloodfields because I was like, these models are sweet. So I printed them all out and I have all the stuff for it and I just haven't done anything with it. So
heck yeah.
It's good to know that the game's pretty good.
Yeah.
I had kind of some high hopes, you know? Yeah.
I also got a demo. Oh, and the CEOcast, it was the CEOcast Soft.
So right, the less awesome CEOcast, yeah.
Yeah, so I think they're very durable in terms of the material. It's cool that they can crank them out for relatively cheap, but yeah, I was looking at it and there's definitely some mold lines that are going to be annoying to remove.
Yeah. The softer CEOcast, it like you have to cut away the actual plastic on the model in order to get rid of the mold lines, whereas normal plastic and or the hard CEOcasts, which they kind of switch to for a lot of companies, you can sand it away or cut it away normally. So
right.
Yeah, the soft stuff, like it still looks really good, but yeah, it's a pain. It's a pain in the ass.
It's kind of like PVC minis in terms of removing mold lines. Of like, you need to slice it. You can't scrape it off. You can't sand it off. You need to take a sharp knife and very carefully slice along the.
So you're gonna have a bunch of flat, like geometric edges along something that doesn't need those.
It's not great. It's not great.
Like it's going, especially over the knuckles of a hand. Like you might as well just slice those off. Like, that's not happening.
$20 for 8 minis and 8 unit cards. And it came with like tokens, cardboard tokens and stuff in there too in the starter set. So I'm not feeling too bad about it, but
right. And even in the CEOcast Soft, like that still feels like, I mean, for most games, right? Like the board game miniatures are not that good.
Right.
So I think that even the CEOcast is already a step up. So I think it's fine. I think it's more of what we're used to on our side of things and better for people who are used to the other side of things on board games. So it's like an in-between, right? And for $20, that's sweet.
Agreed.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I'll have to look on their site and see, because I wouldn't mind getting a few $20 awesome boxes of that and going. Because, I mean, all the cards and the tokens, come on now.
Yeah. And we've talked about CEOcast before, but it was interesting to see how many companies were starting to sell CEOcast minis.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the first things, again, like this is an iceberg of games.
Right.
And your game store is the tip of the iceberg, and GenCon is the rest of the iceberg, except for Relic Blade. Everybody else was there. And just walking around, seeing all this stuff that I'd never seen before, or I'd kind of heard before, And one of the first booths I ran into was Galadoria Games, which is
All right.
a terrain company, and they sell like the 2x2 tiles and the 2x2 walls, and it's kind of reminiscent of early Dwarven Forge of tiles that you set up to build a dungeon or build a room or a tavern or whatever. And I was looking at it, I was like, oh, this is really, really cool. And then I remembered that somebody had told me about this company before, and they're using SEOcast.
Yeah,
so
that's interesting.
Yeah. So, I made that video of showing how to make, like maybe 8 infantry-sized figures in a single cast of that instrument, that injection molding instrument. But they were saying that they could get 8 pretty big tiles into the same mold. And I just hadn't seen people kind of cast that much material at once before.
Yeah, because that's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, those tiles would have to be pretty thick. That's a lot of plastic.
Yeah, but I guess they figured out how to do it, and their stuff was looking real good. They sell both painted and unpainted sets of terrain.
Cool.
Yeah, and anyway, that was just the first one I ran into that was SEOcast. There was a company called Next Level Miniatures that was just selling buckets of SEOcast stuff. Their Broken Anvil was there. What else? Oh yeah, the Infinity, Corvus Belli was there.
Right, yeah.
And so I'm just wandering around. I've got my phone out. I'm taking pictures of their display cases. Like, oh, those Infinity models are pretty cool. And then this Spanish man just comes up and says, hey, sit over here. We're playing a game. And he just sits, he sits me down. and all of a sudden, we're playing Warcrow.
Oh, no.
Corvus Belli translated to Warcrow. But it was actually Warcrow Adventures, which I didn't even know was a thing. But they're making a fantasy skirmish game. Corvus Belli is the same company that makes Infinity. They're making a fantasy skirmish game called Warcrow. But they're also making the dungeon crawler version of this called Warcrow Adventures. That's what they sat me down to play. And this had a whole bunch of proprietary D8s, and it had a bunch of little tokens, and it had a companion app that was kind of leading you through the dungeon. And it was kind of late on Saturday, and I wasn't grumpy, but I was definitely tired, and so I did not understand the instructions of what was going on.
Even with a companion app, it wasn't telling you everything?
Yeah, so the companion app was pretty cool. It was like, set up your dungeon tiles like this, put some clue tokens here, and then depending on which character you had and go up to interact with the clue token, it'd be like, okay, you can try to solve this by trying to pick the lock, or you can use your strength stat to try to bust the lock open. And depending on your character, you pick how you want to do that. And you're either able to open up the chest or the door or whatever, learn a new clue, or you're not. And so the app seemed pretty cool, actually. I was talking with Uncle Adam, and he was like, I don't know about apps, man. Like, apps, one day that app's just not going to work ananymore, and that's going to be a rough day for Warcrow Adventures.
True. Yeah. That's exactly what happens, right? A lot of games are moving toward the app thing, which is interesting. I've seen a couple of good uses, I think, where it's like a service that reads it for you, and it gives you music, and it reads what's going on. But it's already in the book, so it's not like you need it, but it's like an extra. Yeah. I like that idea, because I'm with Adam on this one. It's like that's not going to work. Like, at some point, your iPhone isn't going to be good enough, or the other way around. But it's not going to work anymore, and they're just going to be like, well, nobody buys this, so we're just not going to bother.
Right.
It's gone. It's gone. Your game is gone. It's not a board game anymore.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they ever plan to print some of that stuff or not. I do not know.
I mean, if they're investing in an app, they're probably not going to print it. There's like, they're thinking there's no reason we have this app. It's wonderful. It'll be supported for 5 to 7 years. Yeah.
I will say, okay, so the reason I started talking about this game next is because that they are also doing COcast.
Right, yeah, which I'm pretty excited about that, because that's a company that's been working in pewter for a long time, and like they make really good pewter models, and now they're moving into more plastic. Like, yes, keep it coming. Yeah. And
the minis in this game were outstanding. They looked really, really good.
Nice.
And when I completed the game, or when actually 6 o'clock happened, and
when they're like, we gotta
room
go.
was shutting down for the day, and we very quickly completed the game. They gave each of us one of the enemy figures, and it's a COcast model with a lot of detail. It says Kickstarter for Warcrow coming out in October or whatever it says.
Oh, see, I'm just that's another thing that I'll be into. I'll buy it. I'll buy it.
So
stupid Warcrow.
Again, I am a bad person to ask when the rules get too complicated, but the game had a lot of proprietary D8s, and they were color coded, but there were a lot of them, and I was confused. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Like, okay. So let me try to remember what it was. There was like a yellow D8 and a red and an orange, and there was a black one. And
really,
I think there were like 5 or 6 different colors of D8s, and I think they all had the same symbols on them in different ratios.
Oh, sure. That's weird, though.
So it was like, okay, like if you, I don't know, spend some sort of point, you can upgrade one of your yellow dice to an orange dice, so that when you roll, you have a better chance of success.
Sure.
Something like that.
Isn't that how, like, what is that? The X-Wing game works?
There's definitely a Star Wars game that works like that.
Right, that works like that. Yeah, you get like an extra like green dice or an extra black dice or something.
I think it might be the RPG, like a Star Wars RPG that works like that. That I played once at GenCon 3 years ago, I think.
It is, yeah. I remember. You're right. Yeah.
But yeah, so with this Warcrow game, like the faces of the die did not make a lot of sense to me, and maybe I missed the explanation, but okay, so going back to Titanforge Bloodfields, the attack dice has like a sword on it, and that means you hit. And the defense dice has a shield on it, which means you block. Like, I like those like reasonable things.
Yeah.
Warcrow Adventures has a filled-in star, has the outline of a star, has a filled-in exclamation point, has the outline of an exclamation point, has like combinations of those two things on some faces. And so, yeah, again, maybe if I gotten a little more explanation and like my mind was working better, I wasn't so tired, I would get it. But it was, the guy's like, okay, roll 2 yellows and an orange to attack. And I'm like, okay, I rolled 2 yellows and an orange. And I get like a filled star, an empty star, 2 exclamation points. And the guy's like, that was a really good roll.
And you're like, I don't know what's happening.
Okay, I'll take your word for it, man.
Oh, no.
Like, yay, me. I'm winning.
That's disappointing. That's disappointing to hear. Because, like, I mean, like, I get the idea of proprietary stuff. But at a certain point, like, when it comes to things that are just familiar to playing games, you start changing it too much, and now you're just in a hole, right? You have to, like, how do you, off the top of your head, just know what's good and what's bad, right? It's like, I know a 6 is good, and I know a 1 is bad. And if you're doing that
unless
on the
you're playing
dice,
Conquest, in which case it's the opposite for no good reason.
Yeah, that's another weird, like, that's for no reason, right? It's just because it's different. But I guess that's the point, though. It's like, it's because it's different, because they're trying to stand out. It's like, you're just confusing people, and it's unnecessary. Like, we can read numbers. We understand that, right? I can read a dice without having to think about it.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like in a dice game where you're rolling lots of dice, it should be as clear as possible all the time. Like a little sword and a little shield makes sense.
Sure.
Right?
I can deal with that.
If anything, if your percentages are broken down into like, oh, well, this D6 is actually a D3 because there's 2 of each thing. It's 33% for each thing. Or, they change that slightly so that you have one way or the other. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, who knows? Maybe it's just the way that you take in rules. Like, I think that would confuse me too. I don't think that's just you, probably.
Yeah. Well, that particular game, there was a young man, like maybe like a teenager, who was there with what I think was his father. But there were 4 of us there at the table, and one of the guys was doing a pretty good job of seeming active and engaged, and I was doing my best to pretend, but I wasn't quite in it. I was just like looking at the awesome minis and doing what the guy told me to.
Right. Yeah.
Like, oh, you just got a really good roll. Like, it's sweet.
Like, good.
Sweet. Yeah.
Did I win?
Killing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the teenager was definitely starting to wander.
Yeah, that's not a good sign, right? Like, right. If you're not catching people in that first few rolls, right, then that's not going far.
Yeah, but I am definitely curious about the non-dungeon crawler version. Like, I'm curious to see what just the regular version of Warcrow looks like. Mm-hmm. And again, the minis are stunning. I paint way more than I play anyway, so I'm still interested. One way or the other, I'm interested.
Yeah, and I think, that's why I would go for the Kickstarter anyways. They make really good models already, and I think, like I said, moving into plastic, they're going to open up some possibilities and do some even cooler things. So, like, jumping in on a Kickstarter like that seems worth it. And if the game's good, then great, That's cool.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Oh, and I bought some Humblewood minis. They're very cute.
Ooh.
This is an owl. He has a sword and a shield and a little helmet, and he's an owl.
That'll do it. Yeah.
And this is a rooster. My rooster has like a mage staff that has butterflies on it.
Okay.
And he's got little clothes and like a cape.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a mouse around here, and he's a thief. And this is a kenku.
Oh, okay.
I did a pretty good job of not buying too many things, but I got some Humblewood minis. Yeah. I got Bloodfields.
Well, like, small minis or whatever. That's fine.
Got a couple of samples.
Yeah.
My luggage was doing real good until about 3:57 on Sunday, in which case Conquest loaded me up, and
I bet too.
Just barely crammed that all into my carry-on. Yeah.
Man, when we were at Adepticon, I felt like I restrained myself well, right? Like, I came home with a thick rule book that fit in my backpack, and the Relic Blade stuff. And then, like, some minis that I just dumped in there. No boxes. That felt good. But, like, yeah, you're talking about this iceberg, right? Like, I don't know if I could do it.
There is so much stuff. And a lot of it's just like, oh, haven't heard of this. Hey, who are you guys? And they're like, you're Goobertown Hobbies. Hey, who are you? What is this? What is this dragon? This dragon is awesome.
Yeah.
There was Mythic Americas, which is actually not a Warlord Games, but I think they're distributed by Warlord Games.
Okay.
So we saw that at Gamma, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like the Incas versus the Mayans versus the Inuits.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like a various tribes or regions of Native Americans, plus some mythic beasts that come from some of the stories and traditions.
Yeah.
And those models are really cool. I think they're a mix of resin and metal, which is okay. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of really cool minis there, and they had a larger display than a lot of these small companies. There was a Free Blades booth, and Free Blades is apparently somewhat near future switching from metal to COcast. So that'll be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Man, what else? I saw the Dwarven Forge guy, Stefan Pokorny. Stefan, the Dwarvenaut, like the
Dwarvenaut himself.
Yeah.
The king of the Dwarven Forge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
like the most eccentric D&D player I've ever seen.
So sometimes people ask me, what is a goober? And I respond either a goober is a funny peanut or a goober is an affable nerd. Like, very, very nerdy, but friendly and creative. Stefan Pokorny is a quintessential goober. Like, what is a goober? The Dwarven Forge guy, like, is a
Just
goober.
go watch that movie. Yeah.
And it is pretty funny because Dwarven Forge, like, they have a social media team, and they're active in creating content. They stream on Twitch and stuff. And they have a guy with a mohawk. I think his name is Nate. Does a lot of their content, and I think he's the one that's out there the most. But they keep Stefan kind of in the back, like he's the big guns. That
he's the mad genius behind the curtain.
When
kind of
they
thing,
need a man to just ramble about fantasy games,
oh man,
yeah. Just extreme passion and love for D&D, and just the mind in the clouds, like the perfect goober. And anyway, I met this guy, and this was my big, like, fan moment of meeting somebody from the internet that I've always wanted to meet, and so that was fun for me. Yeah.
Yeah. So the way that I'm thinking about this is like that Monster Truck game had their monster truck, and they pull this dude out at GenCon when they need that same kind of like energy, right? Like he is their monster truck, and he's like getting people in. So yeah. No, that's cool though.
Like, look at this. It's a mountain, and there's a cave in the mountain. And what's this guy doing? Like, this is Stefan, I love
fantasy things. Yeah. He could be doing anything in there. Like, he could be. Could be.
This guy is brilliant. He's a great artist. He's just totally mind in the clouds goober. Like, it's amazing. Yeah.
What a way to live, man.
Right?
Like, because, like, realistically, when they were doing that stuff, it was not the best time to be doing that stuff.
No.
Like, Dwarven Forge is I don't know, it's like an amazing success story, and also just came at the exact right moment in time for this, like, renaissance of tabletop and D&D and stuff. So, good for him,
Right,
like,
on.
getting out there and doing it, and now he's just that dude all the time. He doesn't have to go work at the bank and pretend, like there aren't goblins in your bank account. He's just like, yes, I will help you with your bank monies. No, he's himself all the time.
Yeah, I actually met him for the first time. I was hanging out with the guys who put together this awesome Kings of War board. So I was hanging out with two guys, one guy who had pretty much painted all the minis, and the other guy had pretty much done all the terrain. And I was just sitting between the two and talked to him about this and that. And then Stefan comes up and starts taking pictures. I think it was like live streaming, just walking around to Facebook.
Sure.
And I didn't even realize it at the time, but he's just like pointing his camera at things and talking / rambling. And he's just like, oh, did you guys do this? I'm like, oh, yeah, it's pretty cool, huh? Like, and
yeah.
But so that was fun. And
that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, as this is my first time going to this event where I've been like a recognizable YouTuber. So 3 years ago, Goobertown Hobbies had like 15,000 subscribers, and over the course of 4 days, 3 people from the crowd picked me out and said hi, which was cool. This time it was a lot more than that. People were asking for selfies and stuff, and some people, and like a lot of people at the booths recognized me, which was fun. But it was also fun when people didn't recognize me, which is like a silly thing to say, but that's
still the weird ongoing joke.
Yeah,
anyways. It's just funny.
Yeah. So at this point in time, if you want to learn about SEOcast, my SEOcast video is the video on the internet with the most views. So it was fun talking to these companies that are like, oh, we have this new,
right, trying
and a lot of them were
to
calling
tell you
it resin
how it works.
because it's SEO res is one of the like branding terms for the SEOcast plastic.
Right. Yeah.
And
it is not.
Well, I mean, technically, yes, it's a resin, but it kind of gives the wrong impression if you call it that. Like, it's
more like just plastic injection molding, right? Like
injection molded thermoplastic instead of like 2-part mixing resin.
Right. One is poisonous and one is literally non-toxic.
It just gives a different impression to it. And so it was kind of fun to, have the people at the booths be like, oh yeah, this is a special type of plastic, probably haven't heard of it before. It's this is a special type of resin. It's got these properties.
You're like, tell me more.
I've heard of that. Yeah. And I think the funnest moment of, and again, not that everybody in the world should know who Goobertown Hobbies was, but there was a YouTuber, like a board game YouTuber, Knights Around a Table, who's doing kind of man on the street interviews of just pulling people aside. Our friend Danny from 3D Printed Tabletop has done a couple of these videos, but he's just pulling people aside and asking them questions about board games. What's your favorite board game? Citadels. What's the craziest thing that's happened to you in a board game? Like, who would you want to play a board game with? Just, kind of a standard slate of interview questions to get some interesting responses. He's going to divvy that up into a couple of YouTube videos. And we were talking, and I mentioned that, these are my favorite board games, but really I do play more miniature games, and more than that, I'm actually a painter. And this is pretty funny with this guy's like, oh, have you heard of speed paints? Like Army Painter speed paints?
Have you heard of them, Brent?
And again, that's kind of the other thing where Goobertown Hobbies has the video with the most views is for Army Painter speed paints. And so I was like, oh yeah, no, I've heard of them. I actually have a YouTube channel, and I did a video on these, and you can look it up later. But that was fun. So
it feels almost mean. You're just like, oh, you'll see it. I'm sure if you just type that in, you'll be fine. Like, it doesn't have like 1 million views or anything. It's no big deal.
I did the perfect middle ground of acknowledging that, yes, I know what it is. In fact, I've done a video on it, and I know them fairly well. And directed him to go find it without being like, you don't know? You don't know?
Right. It's like you're being nice, but it's kind of a dick move, right? At the same time, because you're just like, yeah, you'll see, you'll be fine. It's literally the largest, farthest reaching speed paint video.
Yeah. And indeed, the video with the most views that has the word contrast paint in the title too, which is a whole other thing.
Exactly. Yeah, which, and if you came at him like that, you're just like, well, don't you know? Obviously that's not great. It's not great. Like that's worse. So I'm with you on the approach, but I mean, you're burying the lead a little bit. Like he's going to get home and be like, oh my God.
Anyway.
Like, he's probably watched that video and been like, oh, these speed paints look pretty cool, and then forgot.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that's the thing. Like, I figure sometime in the next week or two, he's going to, get all this uploaded to his computer and start to try to edit out a couple of videos to post on Nights Around a Table. Like
Spelled
nights, like day and night. And I had to... He turned around so I could read the back of his t-shirt so I could understand. Because it's a play on words and it's homonyms, synonyms, homonyms. And So anyway, I think his name was Ryan. He seemed like a great guy. I enjoyed the interview, so I should probably check out Nights Around a Table.
I spelled it wrong and it still came up, so it's fine. But I subbed and I'm waiting for that video so I can be like, that's Goobertown,
and just start spamming the comments. Yeah,
literally. Yeah, that's I'm 100% gonna do that. I want that to happen. So yeah, do that.
Let's see what else. Oh, I was just getting a little bit of B-roll of like shooting some of the booths and some of the crowds, and then just Uncle Adam wanders across one of my shots. I'm like, God damn it! I'm like, oh, it's Adam. All right. He didn't notice me, but I was like, who's screwing up this shot? Because
it's even better that it's him screwing it up and not realizing it.
And I turn off the camera like, oh, that's Adam. Like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah. How quick did you end up finding him out of the 50,000 people?
Actually, very fast. And so
I mean, he's pretty recognizable and tall, so sure.
There's that, but also it was just luck. Like I tried to start at one corner of the vendor hall and work my way through an order, but man, just the second booth was Seocast. And I just immediately got sidetracked. Like, it's Alejandro. I've talked to this guy on Skype. I haven't met him in person yet. We hugged it out.
Right.
And then spent 15 minutes talking to him. The next booth was selling pins and stuff, which, I would normally move past pretty quickly. It's just not my personal interest. They're beautiful stuff. But Uncle Adam is there looking for a pin for his jacket. Just like, oh, there's Adam. The next booth was Crocodile Games, so it's just I was moving
you kind of have to stop there,
so slow through this convention hall that the second day I just almost walked in at random and then just zigzagged around.
Yeah, that's a good idea. At a certain point, you're not going to visit 600 booths and spend time at each one. So
yeah,
time's limited, man. That's insane. Like. I mean, this thing is what, like 4 days, 3 days?
It's 4 days. It's 4 days.
Yeah.
Sunday's a bit of a short day, but it's 4 days.
Still, 600 booths in 4 days. There's no way.
And that's just the vendor hall. There's the game hall next door, which is just as big. There's all the little rooms of painting classes and like D&D games and all that stuff. There's an auction going on almost all the time of just like the auctioneer will be like, I have White Dwarf 53 and 57. Can I start the bid at $10? And like that's going on for like 14 hours a day, every day.
Really?
Yeah. There's a consignment shop. There were panels. I think R.A. Salvatore was there for the man who made Drizzt. I didn't see him.
Yeah.
I ran into Uncle Adam, didn't see R.A. Salvatore. Like, yeah.
I mean, that's kind of cool, though. I suppose that makes sense. Like, at most conventions, that seems like the one he'd probably go to. Like, yeah.
Well, I mean, I think they try to get at least one big name, for this sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You give Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman, you get R.A. Salvatore, you got your, I don't know, Richard A. Knack, you got your,
could have had themselves a Goobertown. Mm-hmm.
J.J. Anderson? Something Anderson. I don't know. Look. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. It don't matter.
R.A. Salvatore, the only one. That's fine. We got that.
Saw Vince. He seemed busy.
He also
and Pending
won
Duff,
a bunch of awards too. Yeah.
I don't know what else we got.
Oh yeah.
I did the speed painting thing again. That was fun.
Mm-hmm.
$2, 45 minutes, mini you've never seen before, two of the worst brushes you've ever seen in your life.
Oh man,
12 Reaper
Were they like
paints.
previously used too? There's no way you're gonna put those in your mouth to like sharpen the tip or anything.
Yeah, I was wearing a mask. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but I mean, I suppose if that's the way that you're gonna get it, that's the way you're gonna get it.
It actually helps for that sort of thing. It reminds you not to
You're
be
like,
sticking this
oh
crap in your
yeah,
mouth.
I'm not gonna see. And I would have just first thing like dropped that mask and been like COVID right in my mouth.
Dude, if you got COVID because you stuck a nasty brush that 10 other people had used that day in your mouth,
right, and done the same
it.
thing, yeah. I know, that's what I'm saying. But it probably would have happened, right? Like I wouldn't have even thought about it. Yeah, because like I can't paint with a jank brush. Like, come on, I don't care if it's speed painting. Like, part of the point of speed painting is so that you do a decent job in a short amount of time because you have the right tools and you. Anyway, I don't know. I'm just So you didn't lick the brush. That's good.
No. But yeah, pulled so signed up for like a qualifying match. It was Reaper minis. It was a metal mini. It was a qualifier match, and a couple of the Goobertown Discord people were there, and actually we got first, second, and third, and I was second, and I was the only one of the three of us who could make it to the finals round on Sunday.
Oh, sure.
But
that's cool though.
Yeah, went to the finals round, and I think there were 12 of us. We had an hour to paint a dwarf from Reaper, and I pulled out third place. Like, I got lucky to get third place. The judging was very quick. It was an okay paint job, but first and second were very good for an hour of painting. Right. Yeah. Mine was like, I basically finished it.
Right. That's cool though. You got third.
Yeah, I felt good about that. And somewhere around here, yeah. So, I mean, this is not particularly high stakes. Like, even if you advance to the final round, you place in the final round, winner got to pick 3 blisters from Reaper Bones. Second place got to pick 2 blisters from Reaper Bones, and third place got the remaining blister from Reaper Bones. It's a skull that goes on a pedestal, I think.
So you got your $2 back?
No, I did not get my 2. But to be fair, I did get 2 nice metal minis from Reaper.
Oh, I suppose you did end up with those too. So okay.
Yeah.
You're like up by $3. That's good. I'm glad.
I got this cat with an orb. Cat's pretty cool. I
like that. Yeah.
This dwarven cleric. That's pretty cool too. So all in all, that's pretty good.
Yeah. And third place is not bad, man. Not bad at all.
The first year I went to GenCon, I did a couple of those speed painting events, and I loved it. And so the second time I went to GenCon, I signed up for a lot of them, like 4 or 5 of them, and after a while, I'm like, okay, I understand what this is. This
4 or 5 hours of painting.
I don't need to fly to Indiana to do this, or
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I think signing up for 1 or maybe 2 speed paints each year is fun. It's a fun thing to do. It's
seems like a good
moment
time.
Where they reveal the mini that you'll be painting for the next 45 minutes is a lot of fun. And you got like 30 seconds before the timer starts to be like, all right, what the heck is this? What colors am I going to try to use? How am I going to get a base coat on there and try to do something fun and spicy with it? It's enjoyable.
It sounds like fun.
Yeah, I mean, you should.
That feels like a party thing that you do. Like, you have friends over. You're like, hey, we're gonna speed paint. We're gonna do this thing. You get 45 minutes, whatever. Like, that sounds like a cool thing to just do. Yeah. Also, tricking your friends into painting war bands for you. Or everybody gets a skeleton. Now I have a skeleton army. Yeah.
Yeah. And What else? Oh, you want to just real quick, like one of the ways to try to navigate around in the vendor hall is this coupon book. You pick up your program, your convention program, you pick up your convention coupon book.
Yeah.
And you go around and a lot of it's like you buy the core game, you get this mini expansion free, or go to this booth, you get a free dice that has branding on the 6. Or maybe the 1, or
both.
One of the years, definitely both.
Like the most worthless.
The most worthless dice ever created, yeah.
Like you missed the point of dice, didn't you?
They printed 50,000 of these dice that will never be used by anyone.
Like they'll sit impossible.
In dice bags and cause confusion for many years.
Right. Yeah. What a bummer.
I looked up the coupon for Warhammer. Go to the Warhammer booth and get a free month of Warhammer Plus. Put in your credit card information and get a free month of Warhammer Plus. It's interesting to see that they use these like unique marketing opportunities always to push Warhammer Plus. Like that was the case when we were at Gamma also, which was that convention basically for game store owners to meet game companies. And we sat in on the Warhammer trying to talk to game store owners, and they used that opportunity to try to tell game store owners to subscribe to Warhammer Plus to put that on in the background of their stores, which is not necessarily legal in most places.
It's not.
And is also...
It's definitely not.
Like, why would you want the 2-hour loop of Warhammer Plus to be on in your store at all times? Like, I don't get it.
Right, you might do it like once.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. By the time honestly, you get to like Wednesday of the first week, you're
well, first of
all,
you want
your credit card information back. Is
Oh man, yeah. I haven't actually logged in shit like 7 or 8 months. I don't even know. I'm just waiting for that mini, and I keep seeing that people are getting theirs. I don't know where the hell mine is.
I think I need to log in again to make sure that I put my shipping address in there and everything.
Oh, maybe
and
I'm
sure there's like a box I need to check to be like, yes, please do send me this mini before like
because they have some
out
extra box. Oh my god,
that's all right.
Anyway, because I wanted that. Whatever.
Anyway, it's just it's interesting to see. Like the coupon book, it is your one chance a year to promote something that you really want to hype up or something interesting, and it's interesting to see Games Workshop continuing to use these little opportunities for Warhammer Plus.
I mean, are they just playing catch up, do you think?
I don't know.
Are they like trying to justify something, right? Because it feels weird.
6 months ago, when they did their kind of half-year investor report, they reported the number of viewers on Warhammer Plus, and it was 2 million viewers across all of their episodes, which is not great.
2 million like total views or people who are subscribed?
Views. It was views.
Yeah, that's really not good.
And they had an investor report come out like a week or two ago, and I skimmed through it, and I did not see any mention whatsoever of views on Warhammer Plus. And then you see stuff that, and you're just, I don't know.
At that point,
no behind the scenes information here, but just kind of reading behind the lines. Maybe we should log in, Casey. Maybe we should log in, give them a few views. Like,
might as well. Couple couldn't hurt. Might as well catch up anyways, right? And see what's going on, and if anything has changed. I don't know if it has.
Catch up before it all goes up for free on YouTube.
Well, that's the thing, right? So 2 million views over 6 months. Like their YouTube channel does better than that in like a month.
Yeah.
Yeah. So realistically, you should have just put it up on YouTube and you would have made more money.
hey, I'm not a businessman,
I mean, they might not have made more money if they're charging, a subscription service every month, but even then, like, they could have
introduced
put
the
it
product
behind
to new customers. That's the whole thing. Yeah.
There you go. Instead of putting it behind a paywall, yeah.
But anyway,
lots of different things. Not the point of this.
Not
this
the point
discussion.
of this. This was just me flipping through the coupon book, reading that, and being like, "Huh," and then flip to the next coupon. But
well, and you got some. Conquest is giving out free Conquest models.
Heck yeah, that is an excellent compare and contrast. Yeah.
That's great.
I got my Dweghome Hold Thanes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I really need I'm gonna get those Old Dominion. That's what I'm about.
Old Dominion.
Yeah. Yeah. All the like skeleton guys and the cool like robed looking priestly guys. It just looks cool.
Yeah, it's like undead Roman legions plus some ghosts and stuff. This is good stuff. It's real good stuff.
I do like it. Yeah. So we're going to eventually play some Conquest, maybe some First Blood 2, whatever. I do have a problem with that, but the whole naming convention thing, like, come on, guys. But we'll get there. I think that'll be pretty cool. In the meantime, I think that we definitely need to do some Tabletop Simulator Relic Blade, since you now probably know how to play. Right? You know how? Yeah, Fiverr got you.
Thank you, Fiverr, for instructing me on how to play. The one time I read the rule book 6 months ago did come back to me a little bit, and I remembered that I do like the rule set for Relic Blade.
Yeah, that's always good.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, and then in the meantime, maybe more Bloodfields. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Man, all these things sound pretty exciting. I mean, I assume you had a good time.
Had a great time. And yeah, no, a convention is just a wonderful way to kind of jazz yourself up for the hobby, get reinvigorated, and yeah, learn some new stuff. Again, just walking into those rooms, you never know who you're going to run into. You never know like what new game is going to pull your attention. Every time I've gone to GenCon, just wandering around, you see like a display booth with minis you've never seen before from a company you've maybe heard of, maybe you haven't heard of. And it's just, yeah, it's like the census of the game industry. The quorum of the game industry is just, it's so cool. It's the rest of the iceberg, and I love it. And yeah, no, a game store cannot hold everything. And you know what? I found some 25-year-old packs of Star Wars customizable card game in there.
There you go.
I bought 5 packs of that. 2 of them were kind of expensive, $15 each. Nothing good in there.
That's a good pack.
I was actually hoping for the old smell. And
right.
Because they definitely had a smell 25 years ago. But one of them just smelled like it had been in a home with a smoker.
Oh, no. That's a bummer. It probably was.
Yeah. And then I bought 3 packs that were $4 each. The Jabba's Palace set. I guess they printed too many of those. I don't know.
Probably, yeah.
But yeah, the pack openings were not great. Like to the point where I couldn't even remember where in the pack the rare was supposed to be. One of them was like, oh yeah, I think this alien from the cantina was actually a rare. Okay, all right. You know what I think?
But nothing.
I think I actually
money.
scuffed my old one up enough that having this relatively fresh, kind of A grade, or it was not like a 10 or a 9.5. It's like there's actually a little bit of wear on it. It was probably like an 8.5.
It's been in someone's closet with stuff being tossed on it every other day.
Smelled like cigarettes,
Yeah, exactly. It's not going to be graded highly. Like this is not sought after at all.
But one of the last packs I opened, Jabba's Palace. There, the very last card, Bib Fortuna. Just not coming in to save the day. Yep.
Yeah. Is he worth anything?
None of these are worth anything.
Yeah,
no, okay. I think you get a Darth Vader or a Luke Skywalker might be worth $20, but it's none of these are worth
That's not bad
anything.
for an old game. Yeah. I mean, well, like, because Pokemon cards are worth, like, stupid money now.
Sure.
Like, I have a binder that I'm still like, maybe I should just bring this to someone. I think it's worth a couple $1,000s.
Maybe.
Like, sure. Yeah.
Look up a few of those on eBay.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, like, one of the cool things about this convention is if I looked hard enough, I probably could have found the room where nerds were playing this 25-year-old card game.
Right, yeah.
And I think they really do have an event or maybe even a mini tournament there. Just
that would have been interesting. Maybe you should look into that for next time and just like bring some of your I don't know,
man. Like, when I was 11 years old, I won a Star Wars customizable card game tournament of like 20 players. And I felt pretty good about that. Got my name and my deck list in Scry magazine. That was a big deal for little Brent.
That is cool.
But if I go to a tournament now, the people in that tournament,
only the most hardcore
most of them
people
will have been playing for the past 20 years. And I don't think that would be very fun, honestly.
No. The meta has changed. Right?
The meta has changed. Even I don't know about the 6 Tarkin deck, like right. Yeah.
It's not viable anymore.
6 Tarkin deck is not viable anymore.
12 Bib Fortunas and a Leia, that's what you get. Oh my god!
No,
I think that'd be pretty funny
to remember how to activate my force pile, and these guys are just going to be playing solitaire over there. Their, putting their Tarkins back into the reserve deck, and, drawing Tarkin battle destinies, and getting their
I opened a few packs,
combos going.
Back in the day, I never played though,
and I think some of these might just be too late. I'm
not gonna spend $15 on a pack and be like, I don't know what's going on.
I think you can spend $15 on like 1,000 cards if you want to on eBay.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. And in that case, like I did that once. What was it? The World of Warcraft card game.
Oh, sure.
The TCG. Yeah. Like I bought a lot. Like I have a tub, like a tote filled with card boxes stacked that are filled with cards and decks, and they're all there. And like I don't know if they're worth anything anymore, but I used to have some pretty nice stuff. I literally never played the game though, and now it's dead, so I don't think it's worth anything. Yeah,
I think they just ported like some of the good stuff into Hearthstone and then killed it. My convention buddy Kat, she is still bitter about that game. Like,
really?
Yeah. For the convention, like, she is a great convention buddy. She organizes everything, books the hotels, signs us up for a variety of events. She got me to go to Jedi yoga. She got me to do the Orc Stomp 5K race on Friday morning, which in retrospect is a bad idea if you're going to be walking around all day at a convention. So
let's just do a quick 5K and then walk another 10 miles.
But she's an awesome convention buddy, and she's at least during convention time very, very easygoing. But man, you bring up the World of Warcraft card game and she gets angry. Like,
really?
Well, just because she put money into that game, she enjoyed that game, and then they killed it. And she's like, I've still got my collection of cards. I'm not getting rid of them. I'm not giving them the satisfaction. But they like. Actually, it's when I mentioned Hearthstone, she gets angry. She's like, I refuse. Right. I absolutely refuse. They had a good thing going with the card game, and then they killed it in favor of this stupid online thing. Yeah.
I mean, I get it, because they're still making bank and not printing cards, right? So it's like, okay, I see your play. Like that works. And I mean, I think Hearthstone's a pretty great game, right? Like, it's fun.
It is.
So yeah, it's kind of a bummer. That being said, like, I like the, it's like playing Magic, right? Like, you play it online, you play it in paper. Like, paper's just better. And that's probably the same kind of feeling, right? Well, hey, maybe if we all room up again next year, I will bring a deck.
Ooh.
Yeah, since I don't know how to play at all, but she obviously does. Could be a fun.
She'd do it.
One-time use, I bet. Yeah,
she'd do it.
I mean, refusing to play Hearthstone, like die-harding for this card game. Like, yeah, I'm sure she'll do it. I don't even know her, and I think she'll do it.
Hearthstone came out in like 8 years ago. Yeah.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I was buying these cards then, and then it died. It was very disappointing. I didn't even get a chance. Like, I literally have thousands of cards, and I've never played this game. It's stupid. So I wouldn't mind actually just being like, hey, just show me.
Heck
just
yeah.
show me how to do this. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Oh, man.
All right.
So what was your favorite thing about the whole event?
I'll just say Bloodfields.
Sweet.
I'm
down.
Yeah.
I'm going to look for more. Got my warband up here on the wall. A bunch of frogs and fungi. Really cool.
Real good.
Yeah. Got a big old battle toad thing. It's awesome. I love it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Did you go to any conventions or anything, or should we just wrap this up then?
I was just waiting for you to say.
Okay, Casey.
I thought we had a system.
Okay, on that note, Casey's going to go to a convention next week, and he's going to carry the episode next week.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just going to paint a Space Marine this week. I don't know. Yeah.
That seems fine. Thank you again for joining us on another episode of Paint Bravely. If you enjoyed this podcast, please help us out by leaving us a review on iTunes, subscribing to the YouTube channel, and sharing this message with your hobby friends. And as always, we appreciate each and every one of you for listening, and we will talk to you next time.
Talk to you next time.